The Bluetooth is working. Hey, shut up! Just kidding. That's why I'm leaving. She's loud.
Trying to be in the studio here.
Alright. 3, 2, 1.
Hello, welcome back. Episode 5. Are we up to 5 now?
We're up to 5.
Not Famous Tattoo Podcast. I'm your host, Dray.
I am Josh.
And here we are. We're going to kick off the show for you.
Hell yeah.
Go ahead.
We got some cool new stuff for you guys. Starting a new segment basically about design in tattooing and the history / just where it's came from and where it's gone to. And
yeah, evolution sort of thing. And
evolution.
Maybe de-evolution. But
quite possibly.
We'll talk about all that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so where do we want to kick it off with? Like,
I was thinking like pretty much, so
can I go way back?
I was gonna say let's bring it real far back for like 2 minutes and then get to like American tattooing and modern tattooing.
Okay.
So I was looking and it was saying that tattoos have been going around since like the Neolithic times, which I think is like 5,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, didn't really evolve too much till the 1800s, or no, like 1600s in Japan, but mostly all of the designs were tribal, and depending on where they were in the world was the type of tribal, whether it was like Polynesian or Inuit or Native American. And so all of those had representations of like plants, animals, waves,
and do you know
things that were around them.
Back then, if it was like based on who the artist thought you were as a person, like was that any of that involved, or do you know?
I didn't go too deep into that, but I do know, like at least in Navajo culture, yes, your tattoos would represent your name, your segment of your tribe, and who you are kind of as a person, whether you've done big things like kill a buffalo or, just
right.
It would be like kind of not your story, but somewhere along the lines of your story.
So you couldn't just go in and be like, I want a buffalo tattoo.
I want a line on my face.
Like, well, what's your buffalo death count?
I'm sure they were partially you want this or that, and we could do that. I don't know.
It'd be interesting to know if they were
yeah, maybe we need to get
because now people just do it for body. Like everybody's like, dude, you know what would look sick on my hand is like a tiger or whatever. Whereas that's why I said that. But
big Bengals fan.
We've always heard rumors or we've heard things that say in the more tribal, I guess communities or that sort of thing, tattoos were almost earned or your
rite of passage.
Yeah. And
coming of age.
Yeah, coming of age or representing where you've been or where you were headed or what you did for the tribe or in the tribe. Whereas
gender specific almost
now
on some
we
designs.
don't do that. But.
No. I mean, I think people do commemorate a lot of their life and experience sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. Their
tattoos.
That's true.
But the imagery is just way more modern.
Yeah. And they're picking it.
Yeah.
They're
we're not
I just went to Japan for a month, so I want a sword.
A bonsai. Yeah.
We're not well, you should definitely. You went to Japan. I don't know.
Did you get in a fight?
You're kind of an asshole, so I'll do this on you or whatever.
Kind of an asshole, so I'm thinking a split open head. No, I'm just kidding.
The tattoo you see with the Japanese head with a noose around it, but the head's cut off?
And a demon inside?
That's what you get today.
That's you. Yeah, so I would say like the designs, in my opinion, didn't start really evolving until like the 1600s in Japan, with a lot of the like story and folklore and wood block paintings that famous traditional Japanese artists used to make, with basically just telling the stories that had been passed down generation through generation, and they just turned it into images with the woodblock prints and things and paintings, which turned into like sleeves and back pieces and what we know today as like Japanese traditional, which really hasn't, I don't want to say it hasn't evolved because that's not true at all, but as we know, and as you're going to find out, a lot of Japanese artists really stick to tradition, and it's probably the most rule-based tattooing style I think there is, as far as like there's actually rules to it, just like American trad, but they're a little looser in American. Japanese trad it's not cut and dry, but it has a set of
it has the most rules for
and you need to like know the history in order to be a respected Japanese traditional artist.
Like a lot of modern styles don't have any rules.
No. And there's like
no
neo-Japanese.
There's no rules for neo-traditional. There's no
trash polka, fucking even tribal, cyber socialism, whatever. Right. I would say the rules, other than true American trad and true Japanese trad, those are the only two segments of tattooing.
That's it.
Maybe Polynesian tribal. I don't want to say there's rules, but you can get caught doing some pretty shitty Polynesian if you don't know what true Polynesian is.
Yeah, I think a lot of the patterns mean things.
Yeah.
And, I think modern artists, maybe even me, like I've done it, like someone wants a polytribal forearm piece or whatever, or armband, and like, you know, we all do like, oh, let's do the overlapping squares, and then you know, here's
the wave
a Polynesian, and stuff like that, and like that could mean some crazy shit, and I don't know. But other than that,
I stay away from that shit just because I'm like, I mean, I know I can do it. My fills are solid, the lines are solid, like my design skill is solid. But to me, like Polynesian, I'm like, I'd prefer you to see a Polynesian artist. Just, I almost feel like disrespectful tattooing Polynesian work for
it feels
reason.
wrong.
Like, it just
doesn't feel like the right thing to do.
I don't want to say it's like what's the word, you know, where you're like exploiting a culture,
like appropriation or misappropriation,
like
or whatever.
Like, I'm a little like,
it does
detach
like,
from that.
There's you could lead to it could lead no, there's
you find yourself posting that on your story, and then you got people in there like, you white motherfucker, blah blah. I'm like, all right, dude, my bad. Like, they wanted it, I know them. Like,
right.
You're right, I should have passed it. But who has the money to like fly to Polynesia, French Polynesia, or whatever, and
right.
get a true tattoo like that? I mean, sure, people do, but
no, we've all had clients, I think, that have gotten
for sure. I mean, I'm not saying I won't do it.
Not everybody has,
it's the one style of tattooing where I feel a little weird for some reason. Like, I don't
just feel like out of
white
place.
Guilt.
just feel out of place a little bit, you know.
Yeah,
I don't think this is really my house. Like, I shouldn't be here.
No, I don't know if I'm welcome there, and that's cool. Like, whatever.
Whatever.
But so the part of tattooing history that I think is really cool is a lot of, obviously, the English were traveling all over the world in the 1700s, in pre-1700s and that, but a lot of English sailors started seeing Japanese work going to Japan to trade silk and whatever the things they were doing, or trading. And they realized, like, oh, these are really cool. It doesn't have to just be like tribal work. It can be imagery and folklore and stories and all this cool stuff. So the people who had the money and the worldly experience were bringing that back, getting tattooed and bringing it back to England, which turned into like the high society of England getting tattoos, which later we started seeing when our sailors started going over for basically World War I and whatnot, and coming back to the States. Then artists in the United States basically started seeing the English version of Japanese traditional and the cross blend of that, which birthed like Sailor Jerry, Lyle Tuttle, and American traditional, which...
And it, like, on, like, what you just said reminded me, too, how, like, it's interesting to me how throughout the years, tattooing or getting tattoos has gone from, like, different classes.
Yes.
You know, like, it's been something that was only done or affordable by, like, royalty and heirs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and then it went to, like, you know,
Yakuza and like more of a subculture that was doing illegal things, and
and here like punk rockers and
circus folks,
circus folks,
gypsies,
bikers, you know, like all the things. And then, I mean, I would say currently we are back to being what you would consider a luxury expense.
Yeah, for sure.
And you know, because tattoos are expensive. I would say though, now modern day times, like we tattoo all walks of life. Like
I would say so too, for sure.
People with all kinds of backgrounds and all kinds of money situations and
ages, demographics,
yeah, all over the place. There is no real like stereotypical
tattooed person anymore. It's not a thing, I don't think. I mean, I would say people with tattoos normally are a little more eccentric sometimes. Like they have more, I don't know. It like takes a lot to get a tattoo because it's such a commitment. And like, if you have commitment issues, getting tattooed is probably not a great idea.
Yeah.
Or just, you don't know what you like, or you don't want to mark your body. That still religion, I guess, will block some people from getting tattooed.
That's what they used to say about piercing at the old shop. It's for people with commitment issues. It was like, get piercing.
That. Get a piercing. You can take it out.
You can take it out.
You're left with a stupid hole, but hey.
Better than a half sleeve.
Yeah, I guess so. Like, I don't even really like crows.
Why I did that.
It's a bad idea.
That's why I don't drink anymore.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. But yeah, so during that time of American traditional, Japanese traditional, I say we just fast forward to like the 19th century, the 1900s. Everything was pretty much made with charcoal and paper or pen and paper. Colored pencil, I guess you could say. Maybe even markers when they evolved in this.
This is like the design work, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, because I wanted to like dabble into basically the difference between then and just basically everyone drawing on paper and designing, from like the influence of the world around them, maybe art they've seen or animals and nature or even architecture, to the iPad era where anything and everything on the internet is being tattooed and it's being drawn on the iPad.
Yep. Do we know when...
For a lot of artists, not all.
Yeah. And do we know when like Flash...
was birthed like true like American traditional flash sheets on the walls?
Yeah. Like
some of the earliest flash that I had seen was like 1910s, but it could be earlier.
Like I just thought about that. Otherwise, I would have researched it if I thought about it. But like, I guess it like with tribal stuff, like. That wasn't Flash, you know, that was custom. So
yeah, I think that was all drawn.
It's kind of weird to think that we have gone from custom to Flash. And then as I think what we'll uncover eventually in this episode is how like we might be just going back to Flash. So it's like a couple of, you know, they always say history repeats itself. And I think it's doing that.
So one of the first like pioneers of American traditional tattooing was Hildebrandt. I can't remember his first name right now, but he was creating Flash in like the mid 1800s.
Oh wow!
So this is predating.
Does it look like modern? Like
yeah, totally.
40s,
we can
50s,
pop a
60s
picture up
Flash,
on
80s.
here for you guys to see, but yeah, it basically is.
Oh yeah, for
classic traditional Flash.
Sure.
Very rudimentary flash. But yeah, so I think like Sailor Jerry wasn't the first to like create American traditional flash. It had been created in the 1800s before that. And yeah, so like you said, a lot of it from the Ice Age till the 1800s was drawn on or sketched with charcoal before they tattooed it into your skin, and then it turned into what were they, like lithograph or the charcoal stencils on the plastic?
Yeah, it was called acetate.
Acetate, yeah, stencils. So that was carving using a knife or something sharp to carve into acetate, basically plastic sheets.
A sheet of plastic, yeah.
And then you would put charcoal on top and smudge it around and then stick it to them with like Vaseline or sweat.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what my first tattoo was.
Really?
Acetate stencil.
That's badass. I still see people doing it
what
sometimes.
Was cool is you could reuse it. You know, it's like once you had the stencil.
Oh yeah, it was.
You just put more charcoal or stencil stuff or whatever on it, and like it would reuse.
The only problem is you can't make it bigger and you can't flip it.
Yeah, if it's that size, man, for sure.
One size fits all.
But even then, you like.
But that's when tattoos all costed. They had like, it was like this panther head is $17. And you can only get it that big, and it has to be facing that way.
Yeah, like my first couple of tattoos were picked out of a flash book, and they were the size that they were because they had the acetate stencil in the back.
Yep.
And yeah, I had a price tag on it because it was like that size, and that was the only size you're going to get it.
Yep.
$125 or $75 or whatever you picked. But that's interesting.
It is. So I think, like you said, history does repeat itself. And I mean, I always think there's a place for flash. Like, some people just love collecting tattoos, and it kind of takes when you have the internet, it's just like overstimulating with how much imagery is on the internet. And trying to pick a tattoo is just, unless you don't have something in your head of like, oh, I want this and that and this incorporated, it's just really hard to like pick something. And when you're staring at a wall of a lot of beautiful art, I think it's easier to just be like, I really like that one, or it's speaking to me, or whatever. And so I always think it'll have a place, and I think artists should continue to draw flash.
It'll never go away, which is good. Which is good. Although I think the days are gone where, because you know, like in the 80s, 90s, probably even early 2000, there was such a thing as flash artists. So these are people that drew flash and they would sell it to tattoo shops.
Yes.
It was actually something I explored before I actually decided to go into tattooing. I was thinking about being a flash artist, and
that's cool.
But I think I didn't, because it's like the flash that's like that, where an artist is drawing it, selling it to shops. These are famous artists. These are like legendary guys that have
made a name for themselves. Like, you can recognize their work.
Yeah, one of their pieces of flash is like,
oh, that's
very distinct, and and people want it and all that. But but I think that wasn't true. I don't think that was true in the 80s, 90s, and stuff like that. I think that was just like flash artist. Here's my dragon page. Here's my ocean page. Here's my mermaid flash page, and I don't remember those being significant artists at all. I
hear you. It's funny you said that, because I've actually seen Instagram pages that are dedicated to tattoo designs by people who are great illustrators and digital artists or traditional artists, but they don't tattoo, but they draw beautiful designs and they sell their designs.
Yeah, and how many
through social media, basically.
Yeah, I mean, and that's like, there's a lot of, I feel like throughout the years, there's a lot of artists that are, again, just artists, not to downplay it, but they are visual artists, not tattoo artists.
Right.
But their work is super popular. People want it recreated as a tattoo. But just people that like, yeah, you're tattooing a lot of their work over a career anyway. But that's cool that they're now kind of like assembling them.
Truly for tattooing, because I think where you were just saying, like, sometimes I think clients don't understand that, like, tattoos are different than art per se.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, we can go into the details of like needing black and needing lines or whatever, which it's not fully true, but for a well done, long living tattoo that's going to last through the sun and things like that, some things are important. Some lines are important. Some black shadows are important just to hold the tattoo together.
For sure.
And if you don't have that in mind while designing a tattoo, like, or lines too close are going to end up butting together over time and expanding and all the things that we know as tattoo artists, but some people who don't tattoo and create art, they sometimes if someone brings me a design, I'm like, okay, I need to like put some lines in here, or I need to do it like this because this art piece isn't going to hold up over time.
Right.
And so we need to do a couple little things. And so that's cool that some of these people that are creating this new flash or available designs, they are drawing with that in mind, which is pretty cool for artists who, some tattoo artists, I mean, are really great tattooers and technicians, but they're just not as creative. And I mean, one of my favorite artists, actually, he said he never drew. Like, he still doesn't draw. He just takes images offline that are black and gray photography. He mashes them together in Photoshop and makes really cool collages. And then he tattoos black and gray realism sleeves. And like, he's like, I don't draw. She's a really good tattooer and knows how to use Photoshop really well.
Right. Well, you don't need to draw anymore. If you don't. If you are strictly doing every day, all day,
all
every day,
realism,
then you are you're taking stuff off the internet images.
Right. Which kind of like goes into our AI talk a little bit, where we had mentioned in the previous episode.
We wanted to talk about that.
Where does the AI fit into the evolution of tattoo designs? Because like you said earlier, I feel like it's almost going backwards, just because AI is a collection of everything on the internet. And when you type in a prompt, that AI bot searches the entire web for girl, palm leaf, high contrast, black and gray, and then it gets all the photos and then mashes it together and spits out an image. But it's really just pulling a bunch of art from people who have posted art on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, now you're not only stealing from one artist, potentially, you're stealing from God knows how many artists.
All of them?
All of
maybe?
them, yeah. Like,
or anyone that's tattooed a girl palm leaf or a...
Right,
yeah.
High contrast or whatever that you're putting into... So I'm wondering, like, is the internet fucking up tattooing?
I mean,
the soul of tattooing?
Maybe. Like we talked last episode, where I don't think the tattoo industry is necessarily supporting or encouraging original art anymore. Full custom tattooing. It's not being pushed, supported, promoted by our own industry, I don't think. And with, like, I've heard other artists talk about AI where they're like, if you're not using AI in your tattoo design, you are going to fall behind. And like I said before, and like you said before, we disagree. 100% we disagree with that. But like, I think...
Dude, you can go take a picture of a girl sitting on a staircase if you want a girl sitting on the staircase in your tattoo or whatever.
Right.
I mean, you can also search online and hit up a photographer, but...
Well, it's...
Fuck, man.
Like, where is the line? You know, like... Because tattoo artists or this industry will always, like, call people out if they see their tattoo artist buddy on Facebook post a tattoo that they did, but that person knows they robbed that tattoo.
Right.
I saw that last week and I tattooed it. Like, you literally copied my shit line for line. And then you have some people that copy kind of line for line, but they might change the angle of a tiger's head like minute changes just to be able to still kind of call it original.
Right.
But, and then like, where is the difference between all of it is what I'm getting at. Like, because I know you and I will sit down to do a drawing, whether that's on our tablet or on paper, and we'll look through the internet, like, we'll Google like what we are going to tattoo and what we're going to draw for that tattoo. And we'll look on the internet for inspiration. And yeah, like in our photo references, we'll have like 5 photos of different tattoos of what we're looking to design to tattoo. And then maybe a couple of photo references of an actual picture
of the real thing. Like, let's say we're doing a dagger.
A dagger. So we've got photographs of daggers. We've got 5 different neo-traditional tattoo images of a dagger. And we're able to look at all those, the photographs, the drawings, the tattoos, everything, and pick, like, piece apart what we like, what we don't like, collaborate it into one badass dagger. But like, to me, that's still a fully custom dagger.
I agree with that. And I feel like people that are super pro AI would be like, you just explained exactly what AI is doing. And it's like, yes, but my brain is doing it. Mm-hmm. So it's mine. Like, AI is a bot. It's not a human. It's, if you want to get tattooed by a robot, go for it. But I'm more into the experience of being tattooed by a person. It's sacred practice and tradition.
For sure. There's a bond, there's everything. But like, I think devil's advocate, people would be like, just what you just said, like, why are you knocking me for using AI? I'm just having a computer do what
that dirty work you just said.
Know, like, so. But then Josh and I were talking the other day about how there's an argument where 5 different artists talking to their AI prompts, whatever they use, or their program or whatever.
Right.
And they say basically the same 5 keywords or prompts or whatever. They put it in very similarly, and it is the same thing. They're going to get 5 pretty similar tattoo designs.
Yeah.
Whereas if 5 different tattoo artists do it the way we just described, where they have your real photo references, you've got some drawings, some tattoo references, and now you're trying to blend that in your own brain, you're going to get 5 extremely different tattoo designs.
Hell fucking yeah, you are. Because every one of those artists has a style.
Right.
Some are going to do bold lines. Some are going to do a combo of bold and thin. Some are going to do little drapey gems or whatever leaves that they like to throw in shit or preach. Yeah. Amen. For real.
Dude, I think AI is just, I don't know. I think it's lazy. And
it's super fucking lazy, dude. So what I wanted to say, because what I kept thinking about over and over again was like, no writers in the world that write novels or articles, they would get, we all know if you went to school, plagiarism is plagiarism. You can get kicked the fuck out of school or off of your job or your publisher.
Have it in your college paper. Not without noting it.
Right.
Like,
sources.
Giving credit
and all
sources.
That.
Yeah. Thank you.
Citations and shit. And like, that's fine when you cite and source your like historical facts. You're like, oh, I got this information from a history book in Genghis Khan or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, like, yeah, you just talked about history, but tattoos, it's imagery. And I think it's just a really cloudy area. Like Picasso always said, like, good artists take, great artists steal. I don't know how valid, or I mean, it's all valid if that's your opinion. Art's art, subjective, do whatever the fuck you want. But I guess, like, who do you want to be? What do you want to be remembered for? Do you have, I don't know like how to put it, and I don't want to like put people down because we all like take inspiration and run with it and do our best to recreate our own way. But I just think, AI and Pinterest. AI and Pinterest are the 2 biggest adversaries for tattooing moving forward and being really cool and unique. Just because, like you said, artists can be lazy and underpaid sometimes and don't feel the need to sit for 10 hours designing a piece that's going to take them 2 hours to tattoo and they're not going to make a ton of money off of.
Mm-hmm. Well, like,
it's tough.
The tattoos you've looked at or the work of tattoo artists that you've seen throughout the years, and I'm talking about the ones that when you scroll past their stuff on your Instagram or your TikTok or whatever you're on, and you scroll and you see one of their tattoos and you're like, fuck, that thing is like crazy creative. Like, you are there, just blew my brain out of the water.
Never seen anything like it.
Never seen like it. Completely original, like fully fresh. You know, I'm talking about your founding fathers, like Jeff Gogway, Teresa Sharp, Nick Baxter, Guy Atchison. Like, none of them were, AI wasn't even around yet when they were pumping that stuff out. And I don't think now, if you have artists that are like using AI to drum up their tattoo designs, they're not going to find a place in tattoo history alongside Jeff Gogway, Carlos Torres, or whoever.
Yeah.
And
Reach.
It's almost like AI, maybe it can like pump out a design that's good enough for the client, where the client's like happy with it and you bought it and they paid for it and everything like that. But it's not going to be a ground. But I mean, how many tattoos do we do every day like that? Where it's like, you just got to do a tattoo of a shark.
Make ends meet and give them what they want.
They don't want mine. They don't even want it. And it's like small.
Right. Like, how much can you do with
You can't
that?
blow minds with a 5x6 inch black and white tattoo. Like, you just can't do it.
And I kind of wanted to say that also, like, how much of a role, I'm sorry guys, like, people are going to hate me, customers and clients mainly, but it's like, how many artists are handcuffed by the person that's paying them and saying, no, I want this.
Yeah.
I want it just like that. And there are a lot of artists that have like high integrity who are like, I don't do that. There's someone down the street that will copy and paste something off the internet, but that's not my shit. Like, I just don't do that. And so it goes both ways. Artists maybe being lazy and then clients being really pushy towards, no, I want it just like that. So, but going back to finding a place in tattoo history, like, there's only a couple spots each generation for those people. And I don't know if everybody's tattooing for legacy. You know, like, some people look at this as a job and like they're just trying to make their money and like go home. You know, I mean, they don't really give a shit about the history or the designs or
we both have known
plagiarism. Of course. And I mean, I think it's hard from where we sit, where we're like, we truly want to work our hardest to be unique and be remembered for something and just like try to wow people, really. Like, my goal when I do a sleeve is to have that person text me or come back or call me or FaceTime me and be like, Doug, like, people stop me all the time. They say they've never seen stuff like this or whatever. Like, that to me is worth so much more than the money. Like, it's obviously great to be comfortable in life, but we are through and through artists and we want recognition and to feel good about the hard work that we do.
That's almost like a different discussion potentially there, where it's like, as tattoo artists, where should or where does your priority lie?
Right.
Is it like, are you tattooing strictly for the client and like they bring you a picture and you're like, sure, I can do that? Or are you tattooing for you a little bit, where you're like, I want to do this really cool, like, blow minds with every piece that I can do that with? Or are you tattooing to try to impress the industry?
Right.
And stand out and be
unique.
I
think the best way, because we've had these conversations in the shop before where it's like, you know, we both said it, like, dude, if I won the lottery, like, I mean, shit, I'd take a month off. Like, if someone handed me $100 million tomorrow, I'd take a month off. I'd travel the world. I'd rent boats. I'd do all the fun shit. But I'd just come right back to the studio with way nicer shit and only tattoo what I want to tattoo. 100%. But I would 100% tattoo until I was 80 years old.
Still gonna work. Yeah.
Just because, like, I truly live to do this shit. Like, it's a part of us. Like, it's who we are.
Yeah.
So I think you would
just
weed
only
out
tattoo what you want to tattoo.
A lot of fucking people. If we handed them 100 mil tonight, they'd be like, peace, take my machines. I don't even want that shit anymore. Like, I was just doing this shit to get by.
I'll be in the French Caribbean if you have any questions.
Right? Yeah. Like, not even thinking about it. And that's fine. It's like, but I think the industry now is different than it once was. And back in the day, like, being a tattoo artist wasn't about making money. It was about living a lifestyle that you were free and you can move anywhere and pop up overnight anywhere and make some money and live the life you wanted to live. Now it's like a full-blown multi-billion-dollar business that people who have no interest in art, but they have an interest in having a schedule that they like and some sort of freedom, they're like, I'll just be a tattoo artist.
Right.
Those motherfuckers are never going to create mind-blowing shit.
No, and they don't care. That's one of the...
Maybe they will, I don't know.
Old school tattoo guy that I talked to when I was first trying to figure out how to tattoo. And I told him, I was like, I think I want to get into tattooing. And he said, why would you want to do that? Like, and his words were like, I'm dying with my work boots on, homie.
Facts, dude.
Like, and the industry has just shifted and changed, not for everyone, but for a lot of people. I mean, you showed me that guy the other day on your phone that was like, healthy 6-figure earner, got more cars than most dealerships down the street, and just like living like
watch collection like he plays in the NBA or something.
Full on Hollywood or rock star lifestyle that he's afforded for himself in tattooing.
At 26.
Yeah. And then there's other tattoo artists that are like, you're struggling to make ends meet. You know?
Yeah, dude.
And it depends on where you are.
It's tough.
And it depends on where the economy is and all that good stuff.
And that's definitely a conversation we're going to have. And I mean, and I think maybe sometimes it does go into that when you get comfortable with your designs and your tattooing and being a person that does custom stuff, it's hard to like go back to just making a paycheck and doing like little Pinterest bangers and stuff, but sometimes you need to. And so like when I talk to my fiance and when I hear her talking to other people, like that joke I was saying yesterday where she knows me and knows what I like, and we'll be at the bar and someone's like, yeah, I want this fine line tat. Will Josh do it? And blah, blah. And she's like, oh, fuck no, Josh doesn't do that. He doesn't like that shit. And I'm like, yo, I need some fucking money. I could pull a sick line with a bug pen 3, like,
times are tough,
ink, whatever. Like, give me that tat, you know?
Yeah.
But you, like, when you get really comfortable and you start doing some big shit, you're like, I'm only going to do what I want to do. I'm posting bad shit. People are coming in. They're like, they want this and like everything's good. And then all of a sudden they just stop hitting you up or like times get hard, economy, whatever. And then it's like your circle still thinks like Josh only does, Dray only does, whatever. Mm-hmm. And they start telling people like, don't hit him up for that. Because he won't do it. He won't even text you back or whatever. No, dude.
No.
I actually need that fucking fine line angel or whatever.
Right. That close from being outside with a cardboard sign. We'll tattoo for food.
Yeah. Like, I was doing back pieces 6 months ago, but I'll fucking do that little fairy fine line.
Tattoo fine line for food.
Hip or whatever.
Yeah, it's... I mean, you
bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it in my career. I'm sure you have too, where you're like, you've gone from doing only the custom sleeves, back pieces, the shit you want to do your way, and people actually coming to you for that, to where you're like, oh, and then all the way, everything in between, and then also like, yep, next Pinterest tattoo, who's next?
Right.
You got your...
Who's the 816 area code on the fucking sign-in sheet?
On the sign-in sheet.
Come on back. You wanted those twin cherries?
It says here you wanted your...
Fine line.
Mom's birthday. Okay, come on back. We can do that.
Pretty sick with the Roman numerals, if I don't say myself.
Yeah. especially when they're that tall.
Right? Oh gosh.
I'm really good at it.
That's a funny conversation too, where it's just it's so fucked. But like when like clients will text you and they're like, "Oh, it'll be easy. It's only going to take like 30." For one, I think it's hilarious when clients are like, "It's easy. It'll only take this long." I'm like, "Damn, when did you start tattooing?" But
why do you need me? Sounds like you can just do it yourself.
But I'm like, you talk to like many large scale artists and they're just like, "Bro, I fucking hate the like centimeter Times New Roman font on like the neck," because it's just like that to me, after working big, is so much harder than lining out a back piece.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But you have an apprentice who's like crushes little things like that because it's all they've been working on, all they do. But a back piece lining will take them 2 sessions in 14 hours or whatever, when we could line it out in 6 or 8. Or
well, and on
you just get used to certain things.
Oh yeah, like a back piece of like Japanese traditional peonies or chrysanthemums or both. Like if you can get consistent line weight and like you're not blowing shit out, but like you can't fuck that tattoo.
No, like, oh, I'm off my stencil. Like, fuck it, it's a pedal. I'm
now
just gonna carry that out a quarter inch.
And the other one or whatever.
Wipe
like,
that stencil away.
Yeah, like
never fucking know.
Never know. And like,
but you get a millimeter off.
Get a millimeter off track with a half-inch tall
drops the phone.
Roman numeral 5
coughs,
or whatever. Yeah, you
laughs.
I mean,
when we used to have
dude,
the
that's
fucking
like brain
comedy
surgery at that point.
It literally, I'm like, on the back of the ear, you're just like, stay still. Get your little headlamp out.
You're like, I might start. I think I might start moonlighting as a brain surgeon,
dude. Honestly,
because my hands are like, I can do it. But yeah, when we used to play the Comedy Station at the old shop, it was like,
I was like, dude, I fucking love this because it's so unhinged and just hilarious listening to like this with these guys here. But when you're lining out a belly piece and they're like, and you're just like, someone put some like anything else that's not going to make this person laugh.
Can we get
right
some
now?
90s rock or some shit?
Yeah, like I can't do the laughing.
Yeah, I don't know how many times like
brutal
I've had to be like, because I'm laughing.
Get it out, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
I don't even like telling funny stories sometimes when I'm like near the neck or on the belly or the rib or whatever, because I'm like, we can't laugh right now. Like,
no.
Talking is hard enough if they have like a deep voice where they like really enunciate things.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I'm like, hey man, we can't talk. Like, you got a loud voice and a lot of wind in you.
Yeah,
and it's just fucking up my lines right now. It's fucking up your tattoo.
Yeah, not my tattoo.
It's fucking up my photo and it's fucking up
my
your tattoo.
work, your tattoo. Yeah.
But yeah, dude. And going back, because we get a little off topic with the designs, but
we do that.
We do that well. Something I want to say is like on the AI talk is AI looks like AI.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I've sat in bed stoned going through just prompts. Fucking Biggie Smalls hanging out with Tupac and Tiger smoking hookah in the woods, whatever. Like,
right.
I'm like, that's an AI painting. Like, it looks like an AI painting, or any Roman David sculpture creating Adam with the hands. Like, dude, it looks like AI. There's 6 fucking fingers. The fingernails are fucked up. The eyes are weird. The teeth are weird.
And all the TikTok videos that are like hurricane in North Carolina right now.
Bro, my God.
And it's not.
I saw
and you look at it and you're like, oh, that's AI video. Like, they're just making shit up. And then you go to the comments and everybody's like, dude, quit fucking around. Like, stop it,
bro. I feel like there should be like a little watermark on everything that's generated. Video, image, painting, whatever. Like, legally, let's pass a fucking law that says it has to be stamped by whatever bot's creating that, because we were talking about this yesterday and it's like, at what point does like video evidence not become usable evidence in a courtroom? Mm-hmm. I mean, shit, we could have this AI. If someone had a picture of our face and heard our voice, they could make a video of us saying and doing anything and it would look completely real. Yeah. How is that like usable in court?
It's still, yeah, exactly. It shouldn't
It's
be.
dangerous as
It's
fuck.
dangerous as hell. Super scary, but yeah, we did talk about that yesterday where it's like, what do we...
Where's the line with this?
Right.
It's getting too real. A lot of, like, I had seen an article from a Google executive engineer that was basically like, this is a really, really dangerous road to go down. I mean, we've all seen iRobot and Terminator, and we know what the fuck is up with this, but
John Connor.
humans are dumb. They're dumb. On the light of humans not being dumb, one of the coolest things I saw in design, evolution, and tattooing was Don Ed Hardy studying in Japan and bringing back the influence of Japanese color palettes and flow and incorporating that into American traditional, because American traditional for the longest time was really static.
Yep.
It just didn't have a lot of flow. It always had cloud borders or the robe. And it just didn't it almost looked like it would be really great on a flat canvas. And I mean, American Trad is my favorite, so I'm not talking shit. But it just was more static than the flow of Japanese traditional that had big sweeping wind bars and clouds and waves and all these things that
worked with the body
really
moved
well.
with the body.
Yeah.
That is true. That's a good point. It's almost like if you did a neo-traditional, or not a neo-trad, an American traditional back piece for someone, they're like, oh, I want a ship on my back. Well, you just do a big fucking ship. Like
the same tattoo that you put right here,
on the
you
forearm
just blow
for the
it
homie last week. Yeah. You just make it big, but you're not changing anything to match where that's going on the body.
Contour of the back.
To match the flow of the body or the contour of the back or anything like that. It's just, whereas, the Japanese traditional is like...
It's crazy how it's one spandex suit. And it looks like it's they just put it on, it's
it's everything from wind bars to a couple of flying maple leaves that are
giving it dimension and push and pull depth, vantage points.
And then some of those guys will mag in a koi fish.
Right.
It's underwater.
Right. And you have the sweeping water lines over the top.
You got the maple leaf flying over it, and that's hard line.
You got ones floating on top of the water. It just gave it a lot of dimension. And so I don't want to say static, it was really flat.
Yeah.
It just didn't have a ton of depth and mid-ground.
Well, it didn't have background either, really.
It didn't have a ton of movement. No, I mean the clouds, I would say, and the waves that American Trad had. But even then, they were all kind of the same size, and the waves didn't crash and curl and have all these cool arms and shit. They're just very blades of grass almost looking. How a young artist would paint grass, just all flowing in one direction and just kind of rigid. And then you get Don Ed Hardy studying out there and then coming back to San Francisco.
Yeah.
And just re-implement, and because that guy, he's a fucking artist at the end of the day. He has so many books and papers and just canvases that he would just get loose on.
Yeah.
And very non-traditional American style. American Trad guys and girls for a very long time were very much drawing a little circle and a little circle and a little triangle to make their panther head or whatever. And it was just, it kind of was a recreation. They learned how to draw it and then they didn't stray away from it. But then you got Ed Hardy coming over and he's doing big ovals with charcoal sticks on big walls and
it's the old how to draw Snappy the turtle.
Yes.
Start with two circles and two lines.
Exactly. And you just build off it. Or the child's thing when we used to put our thumb like that and outline it on a piece of paper and then you put the little ear and it's you got a little dog now. It's just,
or turkeys. Turkeys.
Yeah. Just the way we learned how to do things, which translate into what we do going forward. And I think he was a really cool pioneer in what we have going here right now is super sick. The colors, the heavy blacks, all that. But it needs to breathe and be the body breathes, the body moves, the body is not flat. Because realistically, in the most perfect American traditional sleeves that I see, you put a piece right here you put a piece right here, you put a piece right here, here, and here, and then you frame it out with those classic like circle frames with ropes or whatever, the dots. And then like the background's like bands and like scales, and it looks American traditional, but they're always just tattooing on the flat part of the body or the panel because that piece needs to sit on a flat
and
piece
be flat
of skin.
And be, not
Meanwhile,
distorted because it's,
Japanese is like, oh, I can put the chrysanthemum right here and then have sweeping waves right here and then wind bars coming down here, and that follows your muscle pattern. When you bend your arm, it's all going to stay the way it's supposed to look. And just incorporating that mindset of, oh, the body moves, and it's like a cone right here and a cylinder right here and whatever. Like, once you start looking at the anatomy of the body, I think the like design capabilities just expand like crazy.
Well, it's like they embraced it, whereas we
kind of
American traditional fought it or ignored it.
More so ignored it.
Let's just put this on the flattest, like top of your thigh, forearm, outer. Even when I first started getting tattoos, that's what I did. Like I picked out my first tattoo was a dragon I got out of a flash book. And I always joke, dragon number 47, and I'm like, put it right, it's over there. But
right on that fucking panel. It's calling for it. And I think, I don't want to say like we fought it, but we, it just made, we saw the body differently. American artists saw it more as like panels, and we still do to this day. Like you hear a lot of American artists saying like outer upper sleeve panel, inner panel, whatever, and like they've like cut the body up as if it's like a mesh on like a 3D, and they turn it into 2D and have like a hand panel, a forearm panel, an outer arm panel, an inner arm panel, a back panel, chest panel, whatever. And like the Japanese really saw the body as if you cut a line and just put the front of the body and the back of the body on the wall, and then just created a painting on the body for the body.
Well, that's what all those body suits look like. And
when you look at a Japanese drawing of a bodysuit, it's a half of a body. Like it's not paneled out; it's the entire back. And a lot of like Chicano artists really, I think, saw that as well. Maybe Latin American artists. Maybe I don't know exactly. I'm pretty sure Chicano art was birthed in like penitentiaries in LA. And like this.
That would make sense.
With like the black and gray, what we see today with all that imagery, a lot of like big text, and they really saw the body like the Japanese did, and it's all one piece, which is probably one of my favorite ways to looking at designs, where this is a great topic of like not leaving. When you get someone gives you their thigh to do a piece on, don't just black shadow out the whole fucking around it, because now the next artist is just like, the fuck do I do with that? You know, kind of leave like open lines or like gray wash lines, like for them to be like get inspired by and do something with. And
well, depending on what it is, like doesn't even need background. Like some stuff, you know,
it really doesn't. Like if it's a blonde woman realism, I think you need a little bit of a shadow like around her head to define where that blonde stops.
But that can be very soft.
But it can be soft gray wash, and if that next artist wants to come drop in heavy blacks, so be it. They can, but at least kind of leave it open to the imagination for
don't put the heavy black in, because the next artist can't do gray wash if that's what they want to do at that point.
And now that whole sleeve turns into a lot of imagery with a black background around all of it. And you can't even drop smoke in or water anymore, because how the fuck am I going to put smoke on top of a solid black 4-inch blob?
Well, and I've done a lot of sleeves in the past in my career that like didn't necessarily start off as a sleeve, right? Like the customer came to me and they were like, I want Darth Vader right here on my, right on this panel. Right.
I get you.
And I would do that, but then like I would always fight doing any background. because I'm like, there's a good chance
you're gonna
that
want
in next month he's gonna want to go like, oh, let's put Luke Skywalker over here
and like Chewbacca on the inner.
And then ultimately it'll be like, I want to do a full sleeve. And I'm like, cool. Now we can start thinking about background.
Right.
But
and
never block
God
yourself off if you didn't do that.
Just start pushing it further than it needs to be, because I mean, and I try, and I think every artist that's a young artist or older ones that aren't doing this, like when I have a fresh canvas, like someone with not a lot of tattoos or no tattoos, and we're putting a piece like on their whole inner forearm, I'm like, do you think you're ever going to get a sleeve? Because if there's even a 10% chance that you do want a sleeve and this isn't going to be the only tattoo on your arm, I'm going to approach it way differently. And I mean, we always should kind of approach it as if they're going to sleeve out.
100%.
I think that's a better rule of thumb. But like, there are some people where it's like, no, dude, my brother died. I don't even fucking like tattoos. Like, I'm just getting this piece for him. And like, that's my only tat. And I'm 60 years old and no, I'm not getting another tattoo or whatever.
Right,
so it's like, okay, then we'll do like.
And I've found in the past when I've done that or we've done that, like people are honest with you. Like in that case where it's like, nah, I'm just going to get the one tattoo. But also people will be like, yeah, I don't know. I always did think about getting a lot of tattoos. And then you're like,
all right.
You know, and it depends on what they want down here. Like for me, always if they're like, trying to get like a bird flying on their forearm, and then I had that conversation, do you think you'd ever want a full sleeve? And they're like, yeah, maybe. Then I'm like, let's put the birds up top,
so that
and
like,
then later you can expand and we can do sky and then mountains and then whatever,
right,
tiger down there or whatever,
and like build it up as.
But I can't.
We plan to do this
but if we got
one.
the bird flying on your fucking wrist, like you can't. Or you could just do more birds.
Right. Or it's just like clouds and then like maybe like atmosphere and space, but it's like, I don't want that.
You could try to get tricky and make it like a reflection of a bird flying in water.
Right.
Then you could just do
that would be wild. But that's the shit.
AI never thought of that shit.
AI never thought. But that's the cool shit where it's like, the options are endless when you plan to possibly move forward as one piece. Like, cause like, I mean, it's like that cool exercise where like I draw a bird on a canvas and then I hand you the canvas and you hand me your canvas and you drew a cactus. And then we just kind of like start creating a piece, but we know we're going to fill up this whole canvas in this 2-hour like fun exercise we're doing. So we're not going to like purposely draw on the whole canvas or do some shit where you can't build off of knowing this is, it's going to turn into something big. And so if the client's like, if I'm like, hey, do you want more tattoos? Would you get a sleeve? If they're even like think about it, then I'm like, all right, we're planning to do this. Even if I don't do it, I don't care. I want your arm to look great or leg or whatever. So I'm just going to pre-plan for either the next artist or myself and like get this clay so we can mold it into something really big.
Yeah.
Rather than just like
do them a huge disservice and just block it off.
Right. It just, that's where you can tell a lot of, I think you can tell an amateur tattoo artist versus an experienced tattoo artist and how the sleeve is laid out.
Yeah, they'll always leave it. Yeah.
I like to look at it like a puzzle where it's like, ooh. And I mean, it's just so hard when it comes to like American trad because it's like very like patchwork stamps. And when you're going that route, it's like, dude, I don't care if the bird's right here and I have a fish right here. It's like, who gives a fuck? They're just a bunch of stamps. We're just fitting them where they can be fit, but we're more talking about full panels and
right
full fucking sleeves and bodysuits.
But the ultimate goal either way is to be like, whether you started that sleeve with the intention of having a full sleeve and you built it to work with the body and the arm and everything like works together and you lined it out and you did that route, or they came in and they were like, I think I just want half a sleeve today or now, and then I don't know that I'll really ever get the other half done, but then they do decide to get the other half done, and then now it looks like they just have 2 half sleeves.
I can't stand that shit, bro.
or you do half a sleeve and then it's like,
because I did that on my own body.
yeah, I'm sure I did too. But like, or you do like a half a sleeve and then with that intention of only doing a half a sleeve. And then when the customer ultimately comes back and they're like, now I want a full sleeve, well, you just blocked off any opportunity to make that look like one cohesive because you got seams.
Yeah, dude. Like, I think that comes up a lot in Japanese traditional, honestly, when people get the full upper arm and then they have the wind bars that curve and cut off perfectly above the elbow. And I'm like, oh man, like you really should have done like half circles and like faded them out right here, because at least if I have half circles going or wind bars and fading versus the hard edge with the black, it's like at least I can like carry this down into like water and do a koi or waves, or there's like the options are endless at that point. But I'm like, it's almost like too stampy when I never liked a hard cut off. Like, I really don't like when tattoos cut off like a perfect circle or a perfect circle. Like, it just, I think that looks weird.
I'll always encourage clients, if they are coming to me and they are telling me I just want a half sleeve, and whether that's the upper half of their arm or the lower half of it, I'm like, let's not stop your forearm tattoo here. Let's stop it here.
Right.
But like parts of it
like
here
for the upper.
Or parts of it can be down here. But that way, because I will tell them you are going to get a full sleeve.
If you're doing much.
You just are. And so we need it to where when I come back and finish it, when you finally decide
this is what you
was right and you want a full sleeve, then now we can blend because we have elements from up here that are dropping down here, and we've eliminated that hard seam. And whether you're cutting the arm in half that way or you're cutting it that way, you got to leave a jagged line because they're going to come back and they're going to want the whole fucking thing done.
I agree.
And it's just going to look terrible if it's got those like seams down it versus where, oh, now I can put 3 leaves coming down here because I left that open, or I can bring some waves up this way because I left that open.
Yes. I mean, this is a hot take that a lot of people that are traditional Japanese artists will probably be like, fuck you, Josh, but I really don't like the river. And I get that's for like kimonos and like traditional Japanese attire. Like you normally are showing this, so they don't tattoo that, so you can wear it in a dojo or a studio.
Because when they're wearing clothing, they don't want to look like they have any tattoos.
Even though they're suited out.
Yeah.
And like I understand that, and I don't live in Japan, so like I am able to show my tattoos in public and be let into restaurants and schools and wherever workout facilities. But in America, for people that like have no intention of going to Japan and they have the river down their chest, I'm like, I just don't think that looks good. It just personal opinion, like just on the topic of design, like just do a big ass back piece, put on the front, and like make that shit like like I'd be so mad if like my whole body was tattooed and I just had like a 3-inch strip of skin in the middle of my body. I'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Well, let's do something in there.
To that point, that's a conversation I always have with clients when they're like, I want a tattoo right here. I'm like, bro, you know, it's like really badass. It's like a full
fucking chest
piece. Like,
do something in the middle and build around it.
Yeah, don't start here.
I fucked up and did that.
Yeah, did you?
I have plenty of fuck ups. Yeah, like I'm like, damn, I like had no foresight as a fucking 18-year-old.
Tattoo artists always have like some of the worst work and like
facts, dude.
Compiled together just tattoos because you supported your buddy that was apprenticing at the same time so you got that shit. Like I have all kinds of like
just
apprentice work on me because I'm trying to be like,
and I'm like, I'm gonna give you a good spot because I don't want you tattooing right here or my neck, you know, like a hard spot.
Right.
So it's like, fuck it, put it on my forearm, and I'm like,
I think,
oh damn, I don't want that shit.
I mean, how many times do you see like famous tattoo artists on TV and you're like,
terrible tattoo.
Dang, bro, where'd you get that sleeve? Like, and they're like a world-class artist doing like world-class work,
beautiful shit.
But their tattoos on their own body are junk. But that's how it goes with tattoo artists. Like whether you ruined your opportunity to have a full chest piece or a back piece or, you know, like a full cohesive sleeve, like.
That's the one thing I'm thankful for.
We've
I
all
always
done it.
knew I wanted a back piece. And like, I just never did anything on my back until you
Same, I
tattooed my
always
back.
saved it, yeah.
And it was just one giant, I was like, I'm not doing from the back of my head to the back of my knees because I want that to be one piece by one artist.
Same,
And
I never, ever, yeah.
thankful for that foresight. But yeah, the arms, like when you're 18, 19, 20, up to 25 or whenever you're getting your first tattoo, like, you're just like, I want something dope. Like, you got the big dragon on your arm. I got a fucking dream catcher on the back of my arm. Like, we're just putting stamps on our body, not thinking like, oh, I want this all to like blend one day and be
Right. You don't think about that.
A full-on piece.
Especially like when I started tattooing, I had like 4 tattoos. So it's like, and I'm in a studio with a bunch of other new artists that were all like, also didn't have a ton of tattoos. We want to actually, let's like look like tattoo artists and get some practice. And like, dude, you really want to do that thing you drew? Let's fucking go, dude.
Stencil it up.
So like my whole, what is it? Left arm, right arm. My whole right arm is all like apprentice work and other artists from other shops. And
it's, you got some good shit, but it's always like collector stuff where it's like, yeah, this artist took this panel, this artist took this one, this artist did this one. And it's just kind of like, they just worked around each other and it works and it's fine. But it just sucks when we'll do a full sleeve that's well thought out and I'm looking at it at the end, taking pics and shit. And like, and then I'll see him months later and I'm like, fuck, dude, I wish my arm looked like that.
I call that tattoo envy, and I get it all the time.
My little brother, every time I see him, I'm like, fuck you. And you paid like $100 for that sleeve. Like, not really, but you know what I mean. He paid
less than the other.
But way less than what that sleeve is worth. And
yeah.
I'm just jealous every time I'm sitting at the dinner table with him. I'm like, shit, must be nice to have a brother.
One of my old mentors who enjoyed giving me a hard time all the time was always like, dude, like your best tattoos are on yourself that you just did on my
yeah.
You know? It's like, I'm like, well, I don't know. Cool.
I mean,
thanks. I think
you're a great tattoo artist, so I mean,
not really. Thank
goes
you.
with the territory.
But
it is. I mean, there are few people that are as good as you that you've been sitting in the same room with. So
yeah.
You'd have to go spend a lot of money outside the shop to get some. But again, we don't have fucking panels anymore. I don't have a panel on my body that's able to do a full piece anymore. Like every single spot has something.
Yep. Started line work.
It would have to be a cover up, which I don't like handcuffing artists like that. I would almost rather laser it and give them the whole panel.
I have one open space on my calf that I've saved for Nadia's portrait, my dog that passed away. I still need to get that tattoo, but I've always saved that. Like the second I had her like 9 years, and I was like, when I got her, I was like, okay, that spot's not going to be that. That's for her face once she crosses the old Rainbow Bridge or whatever they say. But
you're right. I actually do have my left calf, which I'm like, just do your thing on it. So I'm happy to have. But then I have text and writing where it's like, you're just going to have to figure out how to work around that, dude. Or go over it. I don't fucking know or care.
That's the other thing is like some of the tattoos we got as stamps early on before we really knew, they're just subject to cover up work now. And there's so much that can be done with cover ups. It's like really not even a big issue. Really.
No, it's not. And honestly, like, I just wanted tattoos, and there's parts of the body where I'm like, we're just gonna black that out, like, and do like
what do you
negative space or whatever.
Yeah, like then
I don't want full blackouts, but I think
what
designs with it.
Do you have guesses on why the like blackout sleeves
came to be?
Like why that came to be? Like my theory is. Because I feel like I see a lot of tattoo artists with it.
It's what you just said. We all have shit tattoos, and we're sick of fucking looking at them and going to Christmas and sitting with our fucking wives' uncles, and they're like, bro, what the fuck is that? And you're just like, I would way rather have the conversation of, why did you black your arm out? I'm like, because I had some terrible fucking tattoos, dude. Like,
is it? Do you think
that's
it's
an easier conversation?
I mean, that's a good theory.
I don't know for sure.
Do you think it's a little bit of like a few episodes ago, we talked about how like a lot of tattoo artists end up like either working with their mentors for the entirety of their career or hating their mentors.
That too.
And maybe their mentor did that sleeve and they're like, fuck that guy. I don't want to look at this shit.
Yeah.
Just to like cover it up, you know, and like
and cover it up.
And they're trying to erase a memory as much as they are trying to do anything.
I think so. I mean, because I mean, lasering is so fucking expensive and tedious. It's very like time consuming. And I'm like, if you don't mind having tattoos, just black it out, like, or do something really dark over it, you know, rather than spending like the amount of tattoos you could get or black out for the price you would spend the laser. You could get a sleeve versus lasering this wrist tattoo. Like, what would you rather, you know? And they're like,
and
well,
you could, not only could you get it blacked out, but then you could get the white out over it, or the white designs.
Right.
Like,
because there's so cool shit you can. I've even seen cool full blackout sleeves where they get a laser and then they stencil on top like a tattoo and then they laser lines out of it.
Like negative space out of it. So that's and then that laser is going to hit everything underneath too, right?
Yes. So that thing. Yeah. So your old tattoos that are covered by the blackout are now being lasered off as well as the blackout.
I've always thought too, like, that is super badass. If I ever had a client come to me, I have not done a blackout sleeve, and I always thought if I did, I would be like, let's figure out what imagery you want to lay over it first, and where we can leave negative space
for highlights on
and then we can pack the black in, or the white, or not the black, the white, you know, as opposed to like doing it all black and then putting the white on top of that, because eventually it's going to go gray.
Money,
but like, whereas if you could like leave that negative space of a star or a whatever, a pattern, and then you can just like black out around those lines and then go back in with your white, it'll stay brighter longer.
I think that's a really good way to go about it. I mean, if you can salvage skin. Like, don't just. But a lot of blackout artists, I think, they really like their really large mags. And like, I've done one blackout sleeve, but the guy had like typewriter text, and it was only from like here to here, and he had typewriter text on the back of his arm. And he wanted me to go around the text and leave it almost like it was glowing. And it sucks so bad to go from like a 26 mag to
a 5-round liner
or a 5-round liner to just get in there. And I'm just like that little area to just get the little subtle fade or whatever. He wanted it like hard line, like bubble almost around the outside. And I'm like, that little part took as long as it took me to black out the entire top of your arm. Like, so I think a lot of blackout artists are just like, can I just black this whole thing out and I'll fucking tattoo that little saying you have on your other forearm or on your chest or wherever? Because like, this shit just is tedious, and you're going to pay a lot more in the time that it takes to like get all intricate in there. I don't know. I'm just rambling right now, but
dude, you do 2 passes of white, it'll stick, you know, or whatever.
True that. I mean,
there's a good point there. It would just be a lot faster.
It comes down to speed, I think.
You get going with a
tattooing blackout
100 mag.
Right. Yeah. Like, I was going small with like,
you don't want to slow that roll.
I think it was a 30 something, but that felt small compared to what I see online with some of these blackout. And I think we kind of wrap up soon, but I think like some people that get blackouts, I follow this page called Abusive Tattoo, and it's basically like people who like pain, just like the people that get hooks in their backs and like do things for pain. It's like some people just like to experience pain and have a memory. Some of these people, like, you see those guys that like, and girls that tattoo like that, like, obviously that's not going to heal as great as someone that's just going like nice and smooth and not just breaking the skin and making it bleed like fucking crazy for Instagram. And so like I've seen them, you know, just doing an armpit and they're just fucking railing this person. They're just crying in their eyes, and like they like that. They like went for the experience, not the tattoo. And so there are just some people that get tats because they like pain. And a blackout with 100 mag, it's about as painful as it fucking gets.
Yeah.
So maybe that's like some of the people with blackouts.
And then they can get more pain when they go back to put the white designs in. And
right.
You gotta do a second pass on
like
that.
Like that Remy guy, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking 3-4 full body suits. I mean, we'll show you him later in the future episode, but man, that's like a whole cool science episode where we can talk about like cover ups.
Gotta love pain.
Dude, he said he has, I think, 26 sessions on his solar plexus and belly, full coverage, 26 fucking times. Like, dude, I don't even want to do that once.
There's nothing on my belly right now for
my belly right here is fucking open because I want a big piece right there and I'm fucking scared as shit.
Yeah, same.
And I want my belly button black and like I just fucking haven't stacked up to
like I have the chest piece.
Belly button.
I would love to have just a torso, but I'm like,
dude, it's daunting as shit and it fucking hurts like hell. Like,
I mean, that's a journey you're going on if you're trying to embark on
you
something
will
like
see
that.
your soul a little bit on the big belly.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You'll meet your maker. All right, guys. Well, we're running right about an hour, trying to keep it somewhere around there per episode. So
Yeah.
bore you to death.
All right, on this one, so let's love to see some comments.
Yeah, please, because we want to do a second episode, talk more about like just opinions and designs and what we think is cool and shit.
Because I feel like we could go so long on this subject matter just because it is it's kind of touchy.
It is.
Right? Like who's doing custom work, who's not, do they care? AI, well, we all have different opinions on all the stuff we discussed today, whether it's Flash, AI, iPad, pencil, whatever it is.
Yeah, and preferences and stuff.
So we would love to see some comments on this episode as far as like your thoughts, your opinions on anything we've talked about, and what we might want to see, what you might want to see from us moving forward.
Yeah.
In future.
Talk about your favorite styles, your least favorite styles, like just cringy tattoos you've seen or tattoos you love. Like, just want to hear your opinion and talk about it with you.
You know, a thing that I heard recently, I do a lot of rock climbing for those that don't know. And in climbing, like style matters.
Yeah.
So like there's a saying in rock climbing that's like, it's not where you're going that's important, it's how you get there that's important. So I think that kind of attributes here, where it's like, here's where you're going for that tattoo, but I think the style or how you got there, that matters.
Yeah.
You know?
For
or
sure. It definitely does. I mean, just the approach, it matters.
100%.
Style matters.
All right. Thank you as always for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Like, subscribe, share, comment, all this stuff. And that helps us out tremendously. And till then, man, we'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Adios. Thank you so much.